and welcome to the Counterfactual Stories YouTube channel. In today's episode, we will talk about cheating in chess, famous cheater, and things related to this unpleasant action in our beloved game. But before we start, don't forget to press subscribe button. Perhaps the first known case of cheating is when King Canute in 10th century tried to put a captured chess piece back on the board. The dispute over this cheating move led King Canute to murder his brother-in-law, the Earl of Wolf. In January 1880, at the 5th American Chess Congress in New York, Preston Ware, a wealthy banker of Boston, testified to the tournament committee that his last round opponent, James Grundy of England, offered him $20, which was around, let's say, $200, if he agreed to play for a draw in their game that had been adjourned. A draw would give Grundy, who needed the money, at least second place prize money. Ware agreed, but complained that Grundy then reneged on the deal and went on to win the game in 64 moves, and tied for the first place with George Mackenzie. First place was $500 and second place was $300. Grundy lost the playoff match with Mackenzie and to take second. When Grundy admitted his guilt, he was forbidden from ever again taking part in an American tournament. Grundy played in other tournaments but under false names. Ware was suspended by the American Chess Association for 1 year from playing chess. Preston Ware didn't need money, but agreed to be shady deal because he wanted his friend, Captain George Mackenzie, to take first prize. In 1930, at a tournament in Havana, Charles Jaffe drew his game with Frank Marshall in the first round, and later lost his next game to Marshall, blundering away his queen for a rook and then promptly resigned. Jose Capablanca, who lost to Marshall and Jaffe, charged that Jaffe intentionally lost his game to Marshall so that Marshall would win the tournament ahead of Capablanca. It was alleged that Capablanca influenced the tournament organizer in the USA and Cuba so that Jaffe would be unable to be invited to play in major tournaments after this, especially tournaments in which Capablanca was playing. Jaffe never played again in tournaments where Capablanca also participated. In 1935, Ilya Rabinović was ordered to lose against Mikhail Botvinnik to ensure that Botvinnik took first place at a Moscow tournament. Botvinnik refused to go along with the plan, saying, "Then I will myself put a piece and prize and resign." The plan was aborted, the game was drawn, and Botvinnik shared first place with Salo Flor of Czechoslovakia, of course. Rabinović tied 11. Earlier, Flor had proposed to Botvinnik that they both draw their final game and share first place. It was Botvinnik's first success in international chess. In the 1936, Josif Vissarionovich Stalin met Capablanca and asked the chess master how he liked the tournament he was playing in the USSR. Capablanca replied, "It's terrible, your players are cheating." Stalin then said, "What do you mean?" Capablanca replied, "When they play against each other, the Soviets make quick draws and they get to rest. When they play against me, they fight on and on just to make me tired." After the conversation, the cheating stopped immediately. In 1937, Botvinnik was playing a match with Grigory Lavenfish. In his adjourned 13th game, Botvinnik called the arbiter Nikolai Grigoriev, saying that Botvinnik was going to resign his adjourned game. Grigoriev, one of the strongest endgame composers in the world, told Botvinnik not to resign and that Grigoriev, found some defensive moves that could lead to a draw or even a win. Grigoriev then started telling Botvinnik his analysis of the adjourned position. Botvinnik tried to cut Grigoriev off, saying an arbiter of all people should not be giving analysis to a player during adjournment. Grigoriev replied that it was okay since Lavenfish was getting help from several other masters. From 1940 to 1964, the Soviet chess masters may have colluded in world championship tournaments. Soviet players agreed to draws between themselves to improve their standings. This is especially true in the 1962 candidates tournament. After Second World War, there may have been an effort by the Russians to execute Paul Keres for playing in German tournaments during the war, but Mikhail Botvinnik may have intervened to prevent this. Keres may have owed Botvinnik his life. In 1948, in the World Championship match tournament, Paul Keres may have been ordered by the Soviets to throw his games to Mikhail Botvinnik for the World Championship. Keres played well against his three other rivals but lost his first 4 games to Botvinnik. Years later, Botvinnik gave an interview stating that Stalin had given order for Keres and Smyslov to lose to Botvinnik so that Botvinnik would become world champion. In the 50s, Humphrey Bogart played a chess game against a friend at a restaurant and lost. He then went home, phoned his friend and bet some money on a new game played over the phone. Bogart won the game, but then admitted he cheated. At the time, US champion Hermann Steiner was visiting Bogart at his house, who helped Bogart with the moves. Bogart himself said that he liked chess better than poker because you couldn't cheat at chess. In 1962, Bobby Fischer complained that the Russians pre-arranged draws against each other in order to conserve energy for play against him. Fischer's article, "The Russians Have Fixed World Chess," appeared in Sports Illustrated. This led to the tournament system being scrapped in favor of series of elimination matches. Years later, Viktor Korchnoi, after he defected, accused Soviet players of cheating, of ganging up on Westerners in tournaments and throwing K-games when necessary. In the early 60s, the first recorded computer chess cheating occurred at MIT. Some MIT students went to Professor John McCarthy and another professor, both chess players, stating that they had a breakthrough in chess algorithms and that they should come to the lab immediately to see their discovery. McCarthy was led into the lab room and the other professor was led into another lab room. One of the professors was placed in front of TX0 computer and the other in front of PDP-1 computer. They were then asked to enter chess moves. Unknown to them, their computers were connected to each other by a single wire and the two professors were playing each other. In 1967, Grandmaster Milan Matulovic of Yugoslavia was playing against Istvan Bilek in the 9th round of Interzonal in Swiss Tunisia. Matulovic made a losing move with his bishop, pressed his chess clock and soon realized he had made a mistake. So he took back his bishop, moved his king and only then said "I adjust," which he said before adjusting piece on a square. Matulovic then wrote his move on a score sheet as if nothing happened. Bilek went to the tournament director to protest, but Matulovic replied, "But I said I adjust." There was an argument, but the tournament director, having only Bilek's word against Matulovic, refused to require Matulovic to make his original move with his bishop as the rules of the chess state. Bilek protested 3 times to the tournament director, but was ignored. The game ended in a draw. After this incident, even the Yugoslav players Sun Matulovic ever signed this incident. Matulovic has been referred as Jadubovic, because in French it's Jadoub. A few days after the game with Bilek, Matulovic choked on a bone and had to be taken to doctor. From then on, the joke in the tournament was that doctors couldn't find the bone, but the word Jadoub was found stuck in Matulovic's throat. In 1968, at a tournament in Athens, 2 Greek players were trying to qualify for International Master at the event. During the opening ceremony, invited players to the tournament were asked to draw or lose their games to the Greek players. In return, they would be paid a sum of money or points would be thrown in their direction by another accommodating players. Some players cooperated, others refused. The 2 Greek players did get their International Master title. In 1970, at the Palma de Mallorca or the Mallorca Interzonal, Mark Taimanov was paired with Milan Matulovic in the final round. It was alleged that Taimanov or his Soviet Federation paid Matulovic $300 to lose the game so that Taimanov would qualify for the 1971 candidates matches. Taimanov needed a win to qualify. Matulovic showed up 20 minutes late. Lingerie at the board looked at the previous day tournament's bulletin, then finally made a move. Matulovic, normally a slow player, played at a fast pace and lost after about an hour of play. Taimanov qualified for the candidates match and then lost to Bobby Fischer in Vancouver with 0-6 score. In the 1971, Matulovic was sentenced to 9 months for killing a woman by dangerous driving. No evidence that he said I jadub before hitting her. In the 1970, Bobby Fischer was playing white against Vlatko Kovačević at a tournament in Zagreb, Croatia. On his 18th move, Fischer had a chance to win if black made the obvious move. Petrosian and Korchnoi, who were watching the game, spotted Fischer's deadly intention and were analyzing the position in a different room. Petrosian's wife had followed the analysis of the Petrosian and Korchnoi, then walked across the board and whispered the lines to Kovačević. Kovačević then played another, less obvious but stronger move and actually won the game. It was Fischer's only loss in the 7th round tournament. In 1972, the Soviets claimed that Bobby Fischer was using an electronic brain disruption device in his chair that affected Boris Spassky. The device was supposedly activated when Fischer got up to walk around during Spassky's turn to move. The Soviets ordered that Fischer's chair be dismantled and examined, but the Soviet technicians did not find any device. I think that that time they found only one fly. At the 1976 World Open in New York, a stronger player used the identity of a weaker friend in one of the lower sections. The stronger player was winning all his games until his identity was found out. Director Bill Goichberg had a talk with the person who disappeared before the end of the tournament. In 1978, Anatoly Karpov had a parapsychologist in the audience against his World Championship match with Korchnoi in Bugoi, Philippines. Korchnoi claimed the parapsychologist was distorting his brain waves. Korchnoi then hired his own psychics to counterattack the negative vibrations. During the match, Korchnoi also accused Karpov of cheating by receiving different flavors of yogurt during the game. The different flavors were part of coded instruction that Karpov followed. The arbiter treated the accusation seriously and imposed a fixed time of sending yogurt to Karpov. The flavors had to be in writing from Karpov to the arbiter. Strange things. Let's say in 1981, at the Lone Pine tournament in California, Sammy Reshevsky offered a draw to John Fedorovich. After letting his time tick down, Fedorovich accepted. Reshevsky then denied he made the offer. There were several witnesses to Reshevsky's offer, but the tournament director Isaac Ashburn eliminated all the witnesses, saying that they were all Fedorovich's friends and upheld Reshevsky fabrications. However, the game was resumed with Fedorovich almost out of time and Reshevsky lost. Let's talk about 1994 at Lineares, Spain. World champion Garry Kasparov made a move against Judith Polgar, momentarily letting go of the piece in violation of the touch move rule. Then made a move to another square once he realized his original move was blunder. Kasparov went on to win the game. Judith Polgar waited a day before issuing her complaint instead of during the game. A videotape of the incident proved that Kasparov did let go of the piece, but the tournament officials refused to release the video evidence. In 1997, Kasparov lost to Deep Blue. Kasparov later claimed that the team of chess players assembled by IBM had intervened in move sections, that they were not computer selections because the moves were too human. In 2002, at the World Open in Philadelphia, a Russian player was caught going outside and getting advice from another player. His opponent followed the Russian player outside and caught him speaking in Russian to the same man intently watching the game. They had been discussing the last move of the game, which was heard by 30 to 40 onlookers. The Russian then said he would forfeit the game. In 2003, a player was caught in a bathroom using a handheld PC with a chess program on it. He was disqualified, and tournament director asked his chess federation to ban player in other tournaments. In 2006, very famous Toilet Gate, Veselin Topalov questioned Vladimir Kramnik's numerous bathroom trips, suggesting that Kramnik was receiving computer assistance. Kramnik visited the bathroom more than 50 times during one of the games. The bathroom was the only room that did not have surveillance cameras. This incident was called Toilet Gate. When Kramnik arrived to play Game 5, he discovered that his bathroom was locked. Kramnik refused to play until his bathroom was unlocked. After 1 hour, Kramnik's game was forfeited and he lost Game 5. In December 2006, Subroto Mukherjee tournament in Delhi, an Indian master, Umakant Sharma, age 25, was caught using a chess computer via Bluetooth-enabled device, which was seen in his cup. He had a Bluetooth headset seen into the cup, which he typically pulled down over his ears. An accomplice had been communicating with him outside the playing location. He was relaying moves from a computer chess program. The player was banned from competitive chess in India for 10 years. Sharma's rating jumped from a steady 1,900 level to almost 2,500 in 2006. In December 2007, a Hungarian woman grandmaster and international master was accused of cheating by some of the male players in the Vancouver Open chess tournament in France. She was allegedly receiving transmissions of chess moves through her container of lip gloss. One of the male players even refused to shake hands with her in the final game and demanded that the arbiter make further action against her. At that time, Rudolph was leading the tournament by a half point. She was so shocked by the accusation that she lost the final round and ended up in 9th place. In 2009, also Aeroflot Open, GM Shahriar Mamedjarov of Azerbaijan, the top seed, lost quickly to Igor Kunsov of Russia. After the game, Mamedjarov accused his opponent of cheating, saying that his opponent went to the bathroom after every move, taking his coat with him. Mamedjarov said he examined the game against the computer program Ripka, and that every move in the game matched the computer's recommendation every time. Kunsov's pockets were searched and the organizers only found cigarettes, a lighter and a pen in his pockets. After the protest, Mamedjarov withdrew from the tournament and Kunsov was allowed to finish the tournament. In 2011, a FIDE master, Christoph Natzidis, was caught using a chess program on his smartphone during the 2011 German Chess Championship. He admitted that he had cheated and was disqualified from the championship. In 2013, Bulgarian chess master Borislav Ivanov was suspended from playing for 4 months by the National Federation when it was found that most of his moves matched those of leading computer chess analysis program. In October 2013, Ivanov announced his retirement from competitive chess. In 2013, a former mayor of Italian town near Milan, Loris Serrada, was banned from chess for allegedly using dark glasses that had a hidden micro camera and earpiece to receive electronic assistance in tournament games. I hope you like this episode. Don't forget to press subscribe button and see you very soon. Bye.